What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome coming to you tonight with a review for Love and Hip Hop Miami Season 2, Episode number 8, and it's titled To Serve and Protect. So, without further ado, we're just gonna jump right on into the video. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna start this episode out with the shit that just really irked me the most, and it was this whole everybody's backwards ass friendships. It's Bobby and Tip, Bobby and JoJo, Amada and JoJo, Bobby and Prince, and so we're just gonna go with that bullshit first. So first, Bobby, we see him. He is in his feelings because he is, he's not good with any of his three best friends. And you might be asking, well, who are his three best friends? Miami Tip, Prince, and JoJo. I'm like, you consider JoJo your best friend, but if that's what you say, then that's who you say your best friend is. So we see JoJo, she and Bobby, they meet up. Bobby is telling JoJo about what happened between him and Prince at Tip's release party, and they were supposed to be having fun with the stripper, tipping on the stripper, but then Bobby looks over in the corner and there was Prince flirting with another girl. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, what does that have to do with you? You're not Liz. Liz is supposedly with Prince. You ain't with Prince. And then that just made me think more and more. It's like, it's got to be something going on between Bobby and Prince. You can't, because I just can't see them turn up to this level and there's nothing that's happened. Like, Bobby must have sucked Prince's dick or something. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but it just, excuse me. That's just how it feels from an outside looking in, like something has happened between those two. Don't know what, don't really care what either, but it just feels like there's something more that we just do not know. Don't want to, again, don't care about it. So then, JoJo's talking about how she feels, feels bad about what happened between the last time she saw Prince when she put her hands on him. And, she just feels like Bobby and Prince are toxic toward one another. If they were just, friends, yes. But like I said, it just seems like there's something more going on there. But again, not my business and not my place to talk about it. So basically, JoJo feels like, what? I should have never said anything to you about how, Prince might have been using you in XYZ. And Bobby agrees with her. And he feels like this whole thing kind of basically spiraled out of control with her. And I'm like, but you were the one that was having a conversation with her. So it takes two to tango. And, looking at this whole thing now, I'm starting to see more and more why Amada calls Bobby messy. Because he's telling his friend, and we're going to get into that just a little bit later. So then we do see, JoJo talking about how him and Amada had an issue. And, he's talking about, Amada's fake and people going to start to see it soon. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, JoJo, Amada is supposed to be your friend, but yet instead you let Bobby talk bad about your friend. What kind of fucking friend are you? Like, last season, people went up for you because you stood up for Amada when it came to Young Hollywood, Steph and Helga Pataki. And, another character that I think she kind of looks like, that girl, I think her name is Peggy from the Oblongs, the girl that got just got the jaw and is missing the lower jaw and got the one titty. Like, I sat on my couch and I cried laughing when I pulled up that girl's face. But yeah, so this is a different JoJo from last season when she stood up for Amara. Now she's letting Bobby talk shit about Amada. I'm like, JoJo, you are as fake as they come. Like, oh, I would not be friends with somebody like JoJo. All right, so next we see Bobby. He's in the studio, and Prince shows up to the studio. And why would Prince show up to the studio, you ask? Whoa, Prince showed up to the studio because Tip, invited him to the studio. I'm like, well, was Tip remembering that Bobby and Prince got into an argument with each other at her party? And now you're inviting him to the studio. Okay, Tip, I think you're just trying to be a little messy. Yep, gotta be. So then, they start to argue with one another. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go with this shit. Prince is talking about how Bobby messed up his brand. I'm like, what brand did you have that he's messing up? Like, somebody please let me know. Because I just don't know what brand that is. But yeah. So then Bobby talking about he got he's the wrong person to be in the studio. And why did Bobby say that? Because Prince is serious about his music, and he started jumping around like an old grasshopper. And security was like, "Nigga, sit your ass down, because you ain't going no motherfucking where." So then we see them, and like I said before, they fighting like two lovers. So then you see Bobby outside, and Bobby asks Prince, why does Liz not want us to be cool? And Prince said, because Liz feels like you trying to turn me out. I'm like, you can't turn out something that's not there. So Liz must see what we see too. No shade, but you can't turn something out that ain't there. just saying, you can't do it. Yeah. All right, so Bobby is just making his rounds to, he went from JoJo to Prince coming to him, and now Bobby is going to talk to Tip. So, he meets Tip at the strip club. He's trying to talk to Tip about what happened at the party with him and, Prince. And, she tells him that he's childish. He's childish, he's messy, he's all that, which we know that. And y'all still cool with Bobby. Y'all know about Bobby's antics. So why y'all acting so shocked and surprised that he's done a lot of this shit this season? Like, I don't get it. But if this is what they want to do, let them do it. I don't care. Bobby's telling Tip how he feels like Liz is jealous when he's around. And then, he also feels like whenever Liz is around, that, Prince puts him in the middle of it. And I'm like, do Prince put you in the middle of it, or do you put yourself in the middle of it? Like, which one is it? And I don't know. Like, I don't want to speak too deeply on this stuff with them, because like I said, it feels like there's something more there. I don't know that, and I'm not, this is alleged. I don't know that. Like, this is just me talking. Like, so don't take anything that I say as factual, as gold. It just feels that way to me. So then, Bobby's talking about how Prince is not trying to be friends with him, and at this point, and Tip is like, well, maybe because he's probably at his wit's end right now with you. Like, you did fight him, you've done so much stuff to him, so it is possible that he's at his wit's end. So then we see another scene where Bobby, he and JoJo and her mama, they're out shopping because they went to the VMAs, which that was all over social media, and they're like I said, they're shopping. So then Bobby tells JoJo that Tip is coming, and she's like, oh, okay, well, I don't really like her like that. We ain't gonna be cool or nothing, but we can be cordial. Her voice is so fucking annoying. I'm sorry. JoJo's voice is hella motherfucking annoying. Oh God, her voice drains me. So yeah, so then Tip does show up. So JoJo goes outside, and she was like, when it comes to you, Tip, like, I'm mad confused. Like, why you always talking about you want to beat my ass and stuff? And Tip's whole thing is because JoJo called her a stripper. And I was like, she called you a stripper, but you are a stripper. I mean, I get it. That's not all you are, but I mean, you are a stripper. So that's like me get mad because somebody said, oh, he's black. And I'd be like, bitch, you call me black? Me? I'm black? Well, I'm more than just black. I mean, I get what she's saying, but you're a stripper just like I'm black. Like, what of them? But JoJo, she apologizes to Tip, and then Tip apologizes to JoJo, but not before they were able to kind of find common ground that the person who's been messy and telling each other what the other person is saying is Bobby. And that's the type of person that I cannot fuck with. Like, I don't like people who are, actually, both Bobby and JoJo are run tell that ass motherfuckers. Like, they are run tell that motherfuckers. But, if these are your, and especially for Bobby, if Tip is your friend and JoJo is your friend, why are you playing both sides? Like, why are you telling Tip what JoJo says and then going back and telling JoJo what Tip says? That's messy as fuck. Like, if JoJo feels so strongly about something that Tip said, JoJo should be woman enough to go to Tip and be like, hey, I heard you said this about me. What's up? Like, get out here and catch these hands with me or whatever. But that ain't the case. You are the one that's running back and telling your friends XYZ, XYZ. Like, are you serious? What kind of friend is that? Like, even if I had friends who didn't get along with one another, I'm not gonna sit in the company of one friend and talk bad about the other friend, say one of my friends said, "Oh, you hang out with that person." Like, I wouldn't fuck with them. They messy as fuck. I wouldn't go back and be like, "Oh, so and so told me I shouldn't hang out with you because you messy as fuck." That's not how I operate. I actually had that shit happen to me at my job. There's somebody that I'm cool with, and we managed to get back on good footing. But somebody went back and said that oh, I know Gerald said this about you, Gerald said that about you, and it was brought to me. Yeah, my first name is Gerald, so I go by Gerald at work. I don't go by Jerome. And my friend came to me like, well, I heard you said this and this and that about me. I'm like, if you really believe that, then that's on you. But I'm not that type of person who would do that. Like, I got a big ass mouth. If I said something, I have no problem repeating what I said to you. And then if you come to me and be like, oh, I heard you said this about me, I'm like, yeah, I said it. And if it wasn't in a negative or derogatory way, I'd be like, yeah, I did say it, but I wasn't saying it in a malicious way, derogatory way or anything like that. And even if I said it in a fucked up derogatory way, I'm like, yeah, I said it. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. I'm not going to take it back. I was hoping that it would come back to you in that way. I was hoping that maybe I could say it to you, but it is what it is. And those are, like I said, those are the people that I just can't fuck with. Messy people, do not fuck with them. All right, so I just feel like this shit is like really trivial and really high school like, because then we see Amara and she is talking to JoJo, and I can understand her viewpoint kind of, sort of, when it came down to JoJo being friends with Bobby. She wants JoJo to pick her over Bobby. Now, that part I did not 100% agree with, because you can't tell somebody who they cannot be friends with. So that part I didn't agree with. But what she could have said was, if you're going to be friends with Bobby, that's cool. But when you're in the presence of Bobby, don't say nothing about me. Don't talk about me. Don't mention me. Don't, because, he talks shit about me. And I don't want you as my friend in his presence while he's talking about me. Like, I wouldn't trust you. I would lose trust for you if you did that to me. If you're going to be in a company of someone that I don't rock with and they talking shit about me, and you just sitting there like, oh, letting them talk shit about me, and I'm be like, hey, that's my friend. Don't talk about him or her in that way, shape, or form, or fashion. Then I'm gonna look at you like, hey, I can't trust you. You ain't the type of person that I would kick it with, because if you were if the shoes were on the other foot, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to nobody bash you, because you're my friend and you ain't done nothing wrong to me that I know of. And I'm, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and let somebody bash you in front of me, even if we are, even if I'm getting my words tangled up. I'm gonna get it together. I'm not gonna sit in the company of somebody that I'm cool with and I know that you're not cool with, and I'm not gonna sit there and let them just say whatever the fuck they gotta say about you. It's gonna be like, you know what? I know you don't like them, but when me and you together, we're not gonna talk about them, and when I'm with them, I'm not gonna talk about you. And we can keep it pushing and we can keep it moving. If you got a problem with that, you and I don't have to be friends. Period. Point blank. So, like I said, I got what Amara was coming from, but I don't think Amara was right for telling her, to pick her friends. Talking about, that's the devil and I'm God. I'm like, oh my God, y'all are draining. They act like the group of the movie Mean Girls, like talking about each other in the burn book and stuff like that. But we're gonna move on from there. All right, so next we see Pleasure P, Stuart Little, and Helga Pataki. At first it's kind of like an old woe is me thing, but then Pleasure P is talking about how he's going to, did he say Alaska, Antarctica, Australia? I think it was Australia. It was one of them A's. He's going overseas, put it that way. But Alaska's not overseas. Alaska's the U.S. I think he's going to Australia. He's going down under. So he's going there. Helga's talking about how she is performing at this Pride event, which I didn't give a flying fuck about. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a damn, and I didn't give a shit about it. Like, Mona, why is she back? Like, I get that you trying to repair her reputation, but you can't repair. You can't put a box on top of shit and give it to somebody and say, hey, this is high end shit. Shit is still shit at the end of the fucking day. But whatever. So then we see, Blue and Spectacular, they there. And then, Pleasure P, he goes up to them and talks to them. And, they talking about an album that they're doing. And I'm like, when was y'all doing the album? Nobody, I knew nothing about an album. I know about the tour, but an album? Did not know about. So then, he's telling them how he's going on a on a tour. And, he's going to Australia. And like, so you going on a solo tour? Like, what about the album, man? He's like, well, I've already done my part on the album. So all y'all need to do is get in the studio, finish our part, and if when I get back, if it's done, then we can move forward. If I was them, I would so not want to work with him because he has a diva-like attitude. Like, this is your group. I get that you've been in the studio and you've done your part, but this is your group. You want to, you want to get in the studio with your group and make sure everything is good. Because what if you come back and they went in the studio and recorded a whole bunch of stuff, and then when it's mixed and mastered, it sounds like complete garbage. Then you're gonna be like, well, y'all didn't consult with me, y'all didn't do this with me, y'all didn't do that with me. Like, whatever. Oh, he got on my nerves. He actually did get on my nerves with that part. And Spectacular, he was like, and then he was also kind of iffy about getting back with the group because of the beef between him and Winnie the Pooh. And Spectacular's like, well, if me and Winnie the Pooh, if me and Pooh can make up with each other, then our hope is not lost at the end of the day. And that's why he said, if y'all go in the studio, y'all can do y'all part. I come back, if it's together, we can move forward. I'm like, again, Miss Diva with an attitude. So then we see another scene where Pleasure P is meeting up with his dad. And he's talking about the group and stuff. And, he was talking about how Winnie the Pooh brought old boy with him. So then, we find out that he was a Jehovah's Witness. And he's telling us what all he could and could not do when he was growing up. He couldn't do sports. He couldn't go to the prom. I'm like, I thought they just didn't celebrate like birthdays, holidays. And they didn't, I didn't know that they couldn't participate in sports. Which, do I know any Jehovah's Witness? I mean, my aunt was a Jehovah's Witness, but I don't. You know what? Yes, I do know a Jehovah's Witness. One of my friends, when I was in band, she was one of our we call them brigadettes. The girls that dance with the band. And Jessica was on that. So, what kind of Jehovah's Witness was he? Cause she was on the Brigadettes, and I think she did some other stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, what kind of Jehovah's Witness was he that he couldn't do no sports and go to the prom? Because she went to prom. Jessica went to prom. So what kind of Jehovah's Witness was he? I'm curious about that, but whatever. But he rebelled and all that stuff. And then he talks about how it was growing up without his dad. He then starts to cry. And he said that, his mom told him his dad would be coming for him. But then his daddy never showed up and he just questioned a lot of stuff. And, his dad asked him, well, how did you feel when your brother came and stayed with me? And he tells me that he just felt alone. So I guess that's why he feels the way he feels when it comes to the group. And it's understandable. So, you can't really hold so much against Pleasure P just now that you know the backstory about him. But, he still comes off as a jerk, though. But whatever, and we gonna move. All right, on. Then we gonna talk about Helga. It wasn't really much to it. We saw her rehearsing for this prize show that she's doing in Hialeah, and her dad comes in, and he was just asking her, like, so are you gonna add something Spanish to your show? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna do Guantanamela, for my grandpa, but I'm still gonna do my booty shaking stuff. I'm like, okay, girl. Seriously, nobody gives a shit. And, he tells her how her grandfather would be proud of her. I'm like, okay. Moving on. All right, y'all. So then the episode, it actually started out with Chaotic having a performance. We saw Stuart Little there. We saw Shay Francine, Frinsky, Bucky Johnson there. We saw Prince there. And we saw Baby Blue there. So, Chaotic, he was performing. He pulled Shay Francine, Frinsky, Bucky Johnson on the stage. She started dancing. And, when they finished, Blue was like, I think, I actually called him by his name. He was like, I think Chaotic likes you. She was like, no. And, then Chaotic joins them. But before that, Winnie the Pooh, Blue, he apologizes to Prince for what happened last season at the reunion when Winnie the Pooh blew up at Liz. And, so we found out Tip is not there. And the reason why Tip is not there is because she is still upset with Bobby and with Prince about the whole thing that happened with them at her release party. And, Shay and a lot of them were just advocating for Prince and Bobby to make up because, they think they are good friends with one another. And, then Chaotic is saying that he wants to do a song with Trick Daddy. And, Stuart Little's like, well, if you're gonna try to do a song with Trick Daddy, do not mention to him that you went on a date with Joy. Which, that wasn't really, Joy does not want Chaotic. Like, I don't know why y'all trying to make it like something that a big deal when it was nothing. Joy was just being nice and getting some free food. Like, fuck what you heard. So then later in the episode, we found out that Chaotic was arrested. So the reason why he was arrested is because he crashed his car. He crashed his car. And the reason why he crashed his car is because he said that there was an unmarked car that was following him behind him. And the unmarked car that was following him behind him was a police car. So we see Miami Tip and we see Prince. They picking him up. And I want Prince to stop talking about this storyline with him going to jail. Nobody believes it. Just putting that out there. Don't nobody believe that shit. So, like I said, Chaotic said that the cop car was, riding him behind him. So Tip was like, well, did they ever put on any lights, any sirens or anything like that? Chaotic says no, and I'm inclined to believe what Chaotic says because, and it's possible that they did put the lights on, but he was so in a bit of a panic and basically panic. So I kind of believe him, but then I'm like, I can't imagine an unmarked cop car riding in behind you and not having on a light. And then too, on top of that, why if Chaotic wasn't doing anything, why would the car be following him behind him? Like and I hate to say it because this happens in my neighborhood back in my hometown where my grandmother's house is that she owned. So it's a drug neighborhood. Now they do know that my grandmother's house is a clean house they know all the clean houses on the block, and they know the houses that are drug related. And I actually had a cop follow me once before and actually the people in that neighborhood are my family. So I went because I had one of my cousins were up the street at the house that is a drug house. And I was talking to one of my cousins, and the cop car, he had been circling. He saw me come from my grandma's house, and he had circled the block like 2 times. And then as I started to leave, he came back up behind my car, and I turned, and he made every turn that I made, like the way that I usually go out. I turned, and I usually go straight, but I was like, what? I think this man is following me. So then I turned down another street. He turned down the street that I turned down. I'm like, okay, I think he's following me. So then I turned on another street, and he turned right behind me on that street. I'm like, this is kind of odd because this is this is a street that's almost like a dead end, but it wasn't a dead end because it had an intersection. So I turned on that street, and then I turned around again, and he followed me he followed me. So then I went right back toward by my grandmother's house, and I went down the street and I turned. And in that time, that's when he went another direction. And I'm like, you were following me. He thought I bought something, but I'm like, y'all know this neighborhood. Y'all saw all of us since we've grown up. So I don't know what was so different about that day that cop followed me, but it was creepy as hell. So, like I said, I'm kind of inclined to believe what Chaotic said, but He also has PTSD from when he was shot. So it is a distinct possibility that the cops did turn on the lights, but just because he was in that, that mode of paranoia, that he just probably did not, see or hear the lights. So then later in the episode, we see Chaotic. He's with his family, and he's telling his mom what happened. And is it a Miami thing for them to call their mama old girl? Like, I'm questioning that. So his mama talking about how whenever he leaves, she has to pray. She prays for him because she fears for his safety. And he talks about how he's a product of his environment, which I get that. I think all of us are products of our environment, but it's up to us to change that. Don't get stuck in it. Do better. Like I said, I grew up in a drug neighborhood. Now I have family members who've been in prison for selling drugs, but I did not want to go that route. I did not want to do that. I wanted to get out of that neighborhood, and I wanted to do better for myself. And I did better for myself. I went to college. I graduated college. I have my own place in Dallas, so it's easy to do. And then Chaotic's sister, she grilled his ass real good. And then his niece was just telling him how her dad is dead. I think she said her son is dead. I'm like, oh my good damn. But I love the message they were telling to Chaotic. But that was Love and Hip Hop Miami. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for Black Ink Crew Chicago.